At this past year's Game Awards, Naughty Dog introduced the world to Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet. This is the long-standing company's new original IP, and it's an action-adventure game. Unfortunately, after the reveal, it was met with some mixed reviews. You probably think I'm making this video to rag on it. Believe it or not, I'm not. I'm actually going to give some context and then mention how this game can be saved if you feel that's a thing that can be done or should be done. The context is more important than anything if you're going to understand why the responses were so mixed. Naughty Dog was once a beloved gaming company. They had some major PlayStation hits that were really gameplay oriented, like Crash Bandicoot and Jak and Daxter. They opted to start heavily focusing on narrative-based games with PlayStation 3, with Uncharted, and of course The Last of Us. Make no mistake, those games were massive, so that transition worked out. If you know me, you know that I probably played more Last of Us than anybody because I was such a big fan of the multiplayer. That said, with Neil Druckmann at the helm, none of the OGs from the Crash and Jak days are still with Naughty Dog. Uncharted: The Lost Legacy came out in 2017, and it was the first Uncharted game without Nathan Drake. And then you move to The Last of Us 2, and that may be one of the most divisive games of all time with how they handle Joel and making you control an incredibly unlikable character in Abby who killed Joel. This ruined a lot of goodwill with longtime Naughty Dog fans. You add some of Druckmann's comments, and it's no secret as to how this company is far from producing slam dunks anymore. Now we learn about Intergalactic, and due to the unappealing appearance of the protagonist and her shaved head, nobody is giving these guys the benefit of the doubt. And you're being obtuse if you act as if people are being irrational because of that. There are two things that I think they could do to get back in the good graces of gamers. Maybe they bait and switch and we have a Stellar Blade type situation where the protagonist, you're able to play with all of these different sort of skins. And I don't even mean like half-naked skins. It's just making them more appealing, because I doubt most will want to play as some bald-headed chick in Adidas and Michael Jackson's Thriller jacket. That's not going to cut it. The other thing, and perhaps the only other thing they can do, is obvious. Have otherworldly gameplay, and by that I don't mean just serviceable gameplay. It's important to note that Naughty Dog games are now more interactive movies than anything. They aren't great gameplay games, and we know Last of Us can be a bit clunky in its controls. So it'd be abnormal for them to have this amazing gameplay in the first place, but that's what would have to happen. I'm not talking about good gameplay, I'm saying great. They would have to have features that are genre defining and cutting edge. We're talking about things that will set the standard for action adventure games for the next like 10 years. If this is the case, people may even ignore the unappealing protagonist. Now you may be saying, Eric, you're delusional if you think that's going to happen. I don't. I'm just explaining what would have to happen for this to not be an absolute disaster of a release, because they aren't off to the best start. If it is just a run-of-the-mill action-adventure game with some mundane gameplay or even decent gameplay, I'm sure you'll still have the Access Media types defending it, but I'm afraid that that's not going to be enough. Thanks for watching. Be sure to head over to Rippaverse.com to check out our comic book company. We have books, plenty of merchandise, and even some glorious animations from Rippaverse Studios.